a direct box is a direct injection or direct input box. It's typically used for taking something that's high Z, guitar or bass or keyboards, and taking that line level and taking it to microphone level on a console. So typically you'd be using it for bass, guitar, or keyboards. Active would require power that can come from either a battery internally in the unit or from 48-volt phantom power from a console. Very basically, the uses would be if you were taking something that already has some juice to it, so say like a keyboard which already has some power to it, different than a guitar, you might choose to use a passive. Some people prefer to use an active DI for guitars or bass because the pickup itself in the guitar doesn't have a lot of juice, a lot of power to it at all. So the active can help kind of throw it down the line a little bit stronger. Basically, I mean, this is about as simple as they get. This is a mono single channel direct box. These have been around forever. The simplest way to explain it is you would take the 1/4-inch cable coming from a guitar, a bass, or a keyboard. You would plug it into the 1/4-inch input, and then once that is in there, you would take an XLR cable, patch it into the other side, and this end would go to your mic box or directly to your console, any way that you get to the console. And then you would use your microphone preamp to increase the level of whatever instrument it is you're using. The other thing that almost every single DI box has is a throughput, they would call it. So basically, if this was coming from your guitar or bass or keyboard, any instrument, this would plug into the DI, which is automatically sending out the XLR. But what it also has is this through, which another 1/4-inch cable would come from here and go to your amp. So you're basically taking your instrument and splitting the signal, sending one directly to the console for a straight instrument sound, so directly from the pickup, and then this output throughput would go to the amp. So yeah,
essentially getting
two signals. Yeah. Oftentimes bass is maybe the easiest example, or the most basic example would be most people will record both a DI and an amp sound, or at least we do here at Headgear. So what you would do is take the instrument, plug it into the first input. The throughput would go to the amp where you would have a microphone. So then you have actually two signals, a cleaner signal coming straight from the guitar or bass, and a signal coming from the amp. The other thing that almost every DI would have is a ground lift. Oftentimes you can get, especially because of your lines running so far from a live room into a control room, would be a ground button. Basically, it gives you the opportunity to lift the ground, sort of like you would do with a ground lift, or many amps have them on the back of it. So if you're getting any noise in the line, radio frequency, 60 cycle hum, you just flip the ground. The two main reasons would be, the first would be to have a clean signal. For example, with bass, I actually utilize the DI signal as being some of the definition of the notes. It's certainly a thinner sound with bass than it would be coming through the amplifier, but in conjunction with the amplified sound, it gets a nice definition and tone. My favorite reason would be to be able to reamp things later. So once I've capture a clean sound and have that in the computer, I can then turn around and run it back into the room. There's nothing to say that you can't do that with an amplified signal, but having a clean signal that comes through a DI gives you a lot more opportunity to mess with it later and kind of tweak and get sounds that you're looking for. I think nowadays it's changed a lot from what it used to be. I think because of some of the internal plugins that you can use in your DAW system, people are actually just taking a direct clean signal straight from a guitar or an amplifier, and certainly more with guitars than they ever did before, and utilizing a program like Guitar Rig or Amplitude to actually create the sound itself. So you take as a clean as sound as possible. It's coming straight from your pickups. You get it recorded into the computer, and then use one of these programs to actually create the tone that'll be heard later.